poem we're filling out today is Getting to Know the Narrator, Death. Of course, an introduction, a beginning. Where are my manners? Okay, you fill out the important information, then you get down to the directions. The directions are kind of long. We're going to read most of it, but not all of it. Death, our narrator. And with this self-rebuke, we are introduced to our narrator, Death. Yes, Death, who reveals himself to be a unique voice, one that guides us through the story of the book thief's life. Zuzak has creatively blended first, second, third-person narration to develop the ultimate omniscient narrator. Definitions: first, second, third person. We're just going to read second person. You can read everything yourself. Second-person narration is a point of view where the narrator tells the story to another character using the word you, or when writing fiction in second person, the author is making the audience a character, talking directly to the reader, implicating or involving them as if they are a character in the story as well. In The Book Thief, as is true in many novels, our narrator, Death, is a character. By getting to know Death as a character, we can further analyze the meaning of the novel. By getting to know Death, we can further understand the plot of the novel. The narrator often provides context clues and foreshadowing to help the reader predict and draw conclusions about the plot. Omniscient Death will often give things away because he, frankly, is not used to telling stories. Okay, so wait a second. I think, yes, there is a response. So let's look this over. Response is by a student by the name of Giddy Up. Can't recall him. Oh no, I remember Giddy Up. He's that really good-looking guy that looks a lot like Mr. Morgan. That's right. Revealing quote. Find a quote that demonstrates Death foreshadowing future events in the story. The boy was gone. Yes, the boy was gone, and I wish I could tell you that everything worked out for the younger Hans Huberman, but they didn't. When he vanished from Himmel Street that day, in the name of the Fuhrer, he would hurtle through the streets of another story, through the events of another story, each step leading tragically to Russia, to Stalingrad. Kind of a long quote. You don't necessarily have to have this long of a quote. It's kind of an interesting one too. It is foreshadowing the death of Hans Jr. But I wonder, why Giddy would, pick this one. Quote's meaning. Paraphrase the quote. A misguided son, not really understanding what he was doing, runs away from his father and runs to his death, his life coming to an end at the siege of Stalingrad. I guess that kind of sums it up. What does the quote reveal about Death as a character? This is the interesting part. See what Giddy says. Death foreshadows the death of Hans Jr., though the foreshadowing does not directly relate to the story of Liesel. It is important as it reveals the fact that Death sympathizes with Hans. Death believes the reader sympathizes with Hans as well. Death wishes he could tell us differently, but he can't. Death uses the word boy twice. A boy is impulsive. A boy doesn't always listen to his father. Sadly, Hans Jr. doesn't even respect his father. He doesn't even respect the man to whom Liesel has bonded. And Death grows to admire. Instead, the son respects the man who will send him to his death, the Fuhrer, more than his own father. Though the foreshadowing by Death is that of a minor character, Death is not interested in the fate of Hans Jr. as much as he is interested in a survivor, Hans. Death foreshadows the son's future to show how the son's actions puncture the heart of his father. Ooh, I like how Giddy did that, using the language of Zuzak. Death likes Hans. He connects with Hans. Their connection is evident earlier in the novel when Hans not only notices the color of the sky, but speaks of it as well. There goes Giddy again. Good job, Giddy. Death understands, and he wants the reader to understand, that once the boy runs away, the father will never see him again. All right, that's pretty good, Giddy. Not too bad. Now it's your turn.